The children of Britain's Prince Harry and his wife Meghan will be known as Prince and Princess. The couple publicly used their daughter's title for the first time to announce her christening.
Who's that?
That's your nephew, Archie.
You're pulling my leg.
And what about Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet? Do they have any kind of role going forward? Do they have a job? Or are they just there for the titles?
They're going to be basically like Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. You know, they have these grand titles, but at the end of the day, they are just regular people.
They seem to flip-flop from wanting the titles to very, very, very desperately wanting the titles for their children.
Oh, let's be clear here. I mean, after the birth of Archie, when it was announced his name was Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor, you know, all their sort of cheerleaders briefed that they didn't want titles. They didn't want fancy titles. They weren't that kind of royal. And then when we had the Oprah Winfrey interview, Meghan talked about the pain of having titles and how
Once upon a time, Meghan and Harry were seen as the fresh, modern faces of the monarchy. People thought they'd bring a new spark to the royal family, but now they've turned themselves into a punchline on the global stage. Remember how they claimed they left the palace for privacy?
We want privacy! Hey, thanks for having us on the show. It's so awesome to be here. It's great. So let me start with you, Sam. You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Win.
Well, since then, they've done more interviews, Netflix shows, memoirs, and tell-alls than any royal in history. Privacy clearly has a different definition in their world, because to them, it seems to mean cashing in on every complaint that they can turn into content. Meghan strutted into Buckingham Palace like she was about to rewrite centuries of tradition. But the palace doesn't bend to Hollywood glitz. And Harry, who was once the cheeky, beloved prince we all rooted for, now looks like a sidekick in his own California soap opera.
They're never going to be official representatives of the crown in the way that Prince George is going to be, the way that Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis will probably be. They're never going to be sent off to open a scout hall in Leeds or something.
Well, now, she hasn't waited till they're adults. No, they're using it already. It's Princess Lilibet.
So, I mean, there are a lot of people who think this does really smack of hypocrisy, that they spent the last 2 years doing nothing but attacking the institution of the monarchy and members of the royal family, and yet seize upon the idea of having titles for their children.
And what's their biggest selling point? The kids. Archie and Lilibet were supposed to be the living proof that their royal connection was still intact. But that dream? It's crumbling. The palace has drawn a brutal, crystal clear line. And to really understand why, we have to kind of rewind all the way back to 1917, when King George V issued the letters patent, a royal decree that defines exactly who counts as a prince or princess. That law is ironclad. No PR stunts, no Netflix specials, no Hollywood loopholes, no California exemptions. The warning signs were there from the very start. Archie's birth certificate raised eyebrows when Meghan's name was suddenly erased and replaced with Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. That tiny change spoke volumes, suggesting he didn't fully belong in the royal fold.
So my favorite moment, and I do think the most telling, it was in the Mindy episode, and it was the moment where Mindy is playing along with Meghan's oft-told, much-debunked origin story, that she was this poor little latchkey kid in the slums of Los Angeles, coming home from school every day, eating her sad little fast food on a tray table.
Right.
While she's watching Jeopardy, mind you. So she may be watching TV, but she's watching Jeopardy.
She's smart.
She's smart.
So in case you didn't
know.
know.
And she's not writing, feminist manifestos to soap companies. That's part of a class project, not an auto-generated thing.
She does mention later.
We never forget.
Yeah.
Never forget.
Mm-mm.
So we're not walking through landmines here, like Diana.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Mindy says to her, I just don't think that anybody really realizes Meghan Markle ate Jack in the Box. And you watch Meghan tense up, right up, and the micro expressions and the jaw sets and the eyes go black. And her shoulders rise up and she goes, you know, it's so funny. And she's like chopping something. So it's like dangerous. You know, it's so funny you say that. So funny you say that because you know what? I'm Sussex now.
I'm Sussex.
Then came Lilibet, and the palace made its stance even clearer. She was born in California. Her arrival announced by PR reps, and the palace didn't even acknowledge it. No statement, no official recognition, no place in the records of royal history. And her so-called baptism? Yes, it was celebrated in California, but never recognized by the Church of England. In royal terms, that makes it almost meaningless. Behind closed doors, Harry begged. He wanted his children tied to the monarchy, their place in the royal family secured. But the palace stayed quiet, cold, and unmovable. Until now. That silence is finally broken, and it was like thunder. Recent legal filings confirm what everyone had already been whispering. Archie and Lilibet are officially out. No titles, no place in the line of succession, no royal security. In the Windsor dynasty, it's as if they don't even exist. For Meghan and Harry, this isn't just painful, it's devastating. Their entire brand is built on their royal connection, and without that, the foundation collapses. For Archie and Lilibet, the reality is even harsher. They've been erased before they even had a chance. The monarchy didn't bend for Meghan and Harry, and it never will. The truth is simple. No amount of celebrity, power, fame, or Hollywood influence can rewrite centuries of royal law. But here's the real sting. The palace wasn't just enforcing rules. This was a statement, a cold reminder that tradition will always outweigh PR spin. Trust me, the next revelation in this saga, it's going to cut even deeper. Can you believe how far this story has spiraled? Meghan and Harry, once hailed as the rebellious breath of fresh air in the monarchy, are now trapped in a whirlwind of their own making. At first, they walked the palace halls with stars in their eyes, dreaming of rewriting their roles. But fast forward, and now the headlines are about scandal, not fairy tales. Fame, fortune, freedom, they chased it all, but the whispers of doubt and criticism are louder than ever. Every sigh, every move, every public step is caught on camera, and the world is ready to pounce. At one point, Meghan even remarked how much of a pleasure it was to live in her new home in the UK. But people quickly pointed out the irony. Didn't they leave for privacy, for safety? Yet somehow, they've racked up more interviews, documentaries, and staged revelations than any working royal in history, which leaves the question hanging in the air. Was this ever really about privacy? Or was it all a carefully orchestrated performance? Because let's be honest, royal exits don't usually come with Netflix contracts and podcast tours. That's not stepping away, that's stepping into an even brighter spotlight.
I would love reconciliation with my family. There's no point in continuing to fight anymore. As I said, life is precious. I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff. But it would be nice to reconcile. As I learned through the First Nations throughout Canada, because of the Invictus Games, that their goal in life was always truth and reconciliation. And I turned around to them in many conversations and I said, right, but reconciliation can't come without truth. Well, I've now found out the truth. I've shared some of it with you today. A lot of it exists out there, whether people choose to ignore it or not. So it would be nice to have that reconciliation part now. If they don't want that, that's entirely up to them.
One emotional clip once claimed how hurtful it was to be lied about for years. But here's the irony. Privacy for Meghan and Harry now seems to mean cashing in on every grievance, every tear, and turning it into maximum exposure. The public is split. Some cheer, others gasp, but everyone stays glued. This isn't privacy anymore, it's a circus. And Meghan and Harry are right in the center ring, spinning the show with their PR machine. Critics didn't hold back either. Some even said Meghan was willing to show pictures of her kids only if there was enough zeros at the end of a paycheck.
Meghan just posted adorable snaps of Archie and Lilibet. The Duchess of Sussex took to Instagram to show her two children helping her select pink roses from a bush, alongside the caption, "Sunday kind of love with my little loves." It comes after Lilibet's adorable American accent was heard for the first time as the 3-year-old gave her one-word verdict on her mother's jam this weekend.
What do we think, Lily?
I think it's beautiful. Happy birthday to you. Archie, do you want to come
She walked into the royal family as if she could bend Buckingham Palace toward Hollywood branding. But the truth is simple. The monarchy doesn't shift for ratings or Instagram clout. No amount of couture or charisma can erase centuries of rules. And when it came to the children, the accusations got nastier. Critics accused Meghan of treating Archie and Lilibet like commercial assets, which, if true, is both harsh and heartbreaking. Then there's Harry, once the cheeky, adored prince everyone hoped would escape royal rules. Now he looks like a sidekick in his own story, dragged on to California talk shows as though he traded a crown for a kombucha. The irony couldn't be clearer. He wanted freedom, but that freedom came with chains. Chains made of cameras, contracts, and constant judgment. Meghan, some said, simply needed content. And the tragedy? The Sussexes once claimed they left to protect their kids from royal scrutiny, yet when the story fit, suddenly, Archie and Lilibet were center stage. Protected or used as part of the plot? It's hard to tell when every photo and gesture is dissected worldwide.
I don't know how staying silent is ever going to make things better.
Wouldn't your brother say to you, Harry, how could you do this to me? After everything we went through, wouldn't that be what he would say?
He'd probably say all sorts of different things.
Some people will say, you have railed against invasions of your privacy all your life. But the accusation will be, here are you invading the privacy of your most nearest and dearest without permission. That'll be the accusation.
That would be the accusation from the people that don't understand or don't want to believe that my family have been briefing the press.
If you're invited to the coronation, will you come?
There's a lot that can happen between now and then. But, you know, the door is always open. The ball is in their court. There's a lot to be discussed, and I really hope that they are willing to sit down and talk about it.
Do you still believe in the monarchy?
Yes.
Do you believe you'll play a part in its future?
I don't know.
Even Prince William's patience has worn thin. Reports claim he was fed up with Harry's wild accusations. And while Meghan and Harry painted the palace as cold and cruel, they kept reaching back for validation, recognition, and titles. It's like watching a soap opera. Two people tearing down the very system they're still begging approval from. Some even suggested that when William becomes king, he'll strip Harry's children of their HRH titles altogether. To some, it didn't matter. To others, it was explosive proof that the palace won't play this game forever.
The children of Britain's Prince Harry and his wife Meghan will be known as Prince and Princess. The couple publicly used their daughter's title for the first time to announce her christening. Under royal rules, the monarch's grandchildren can become princess or princesses of the realm, meaning that Harry's children, Archie and Lilibet, were eligible to use the titles since his father, King Charles, became the king last September. A spokesperson for the couple confirms on Wednesday, March 8, that, quote, Princess Lilibet Diana was christened on March 3 by the Archbishop of Los Angeles. Buckingham Palace says it will update the royal website to reflect Archie and Lilibet's titles in, quote, due course. The interest in Harry's children's titles comes after his relationship with his father, King Charles, hit rock bottom following his tell-all memoir on the royal family.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's two children, Archie and Lilibet, will likely inherit royal titles once Prince Charles becomes king. Under current guidelines, only the children of the eldest son of the current monarch are granted prince or princess titles. Because Prince Charles is Queen Elizabeth's eldest son, Prince William and Kate Middleton's children are Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. However, when Prince Charles becomes king, the title of prince will automatically be given to Archie.
The contradictions are almost dizzying. Meghan cries about struggles one moment, then re-emerges as a glamorous humanitarian in couture gowns. Harry insists on dignity, but then sells every secret to the highest bidder. For years, the palace kept its silence. But when whispers started touching Archie and Lilibet, that silence broke, and the fallout was sharper than any interview could deliver. At the heart of it all sits one brutal reminder. If those children weren't born directly into royal bloodlines, they can't be in the line of succession. No blood, no place. And the palace? It's made that point crystal clear. To understand the palace's move, you rewind to 1917, when King George V locked everything in with the letters patent, the law that decides who counts as a prince or princess. These rules weren't aimed at Harry's kids. They were written to protect the monarchy from chaos, favoritism, or Hollywood spectacle. Royal bloodlines, proper birth registration, and Church of England recognition. Those are the requirements. No exceptions, no celebrity loopholes. The monarchy runs on law and tradition, not Instagram followers or Netflix contracts. And this is where the clash erupted. Meghan and Harry treated titles like props in a reality show, believing their star power could pressure Buckingham into bending history. But the palace doesn't bend. Order is their lifeblood. As critics bluntly put it, Meghan's real ambition was influence, not duty. They argued she always aimed for branding power. And when everything else faded, the kids became part of the image machine.
They seem to flip-flop from wanting the titles to very, very desperately wanting the titles for their children.
Oh, let's be clear here. I mean, after the birth of Archie, when it was announced his name was Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor, all their sort of cheerleaders briefed that they didn't want titles. They didn't want fancy titles. They weren't that kind of royal. And then when we had the Oprah Winfrey interview, Meghan talked about the pain of having titles and how, it can be really difficult. And she actually said she wouldn't, although it's the birthright of the children, she wouldn't wish this on them until they were older. Well, now, she hasn't waited till they're adults. No, they're using it already. It's Princess Lilibet.
So, there are a lot of people who think this does really smack of hypocrisy, that they spent the last 2 years doing nothing but attacking the institution of the monarchy and members of the royal family, and yet seize upon the idea of having titles for their children.
So what happened? The couple gambled. They thought fame could rewrite centuries of order. But the palace hit back with a harsh reality check. Royalty isn't a brand. Forget the Spotify deals and the glossy spreads. Royalty doesn't care about clout. And when it came to Archie and Lilibet, the system slammed the doors shut. The first crack showed in 2019 with Archie's birth. A storybook moment quickly turned strange. When his birth certificate was altered, Meghan's legal name was erased and replaced with Duchess of Sussex. Diana's name stayed. Kate's name stayed. But Meghan's gone. No precedent, no explanation. Was it palace command, personal choice, or a PR stunt? That tiny change opened a Pandora's box of questions. Was Archie's place in the royal ledger secure, or was the palace sending a quiet signal?
Jack in the Box because my mom loved their tacos.
I don't think anyone in the world knows that Meghan Markle has eaten Jack in the Box and loves it.
It's so funny, too, that you keep saying Meghan Markle. I'm Sussex now. You have kids and you go, no, I share my name with my children.
Yes.
And that feels so, I didn't know how meaningful it would be to me, but it just means so much to go, this is our family name.
Then came Lilibet in 2021. Born in California, far from palace traditions. No balcony appearance, no formal announcements, no record in official ledgers, just a press release. For the monarchy, that silence was the statement. Yes, she was Harry and Meghan's child, but not part of the royal lineage. Cold, sharp, and final. In the royal world, baptism isn't just a cute family moment. It's history, legitimacy, and tradition rolled into one sacred act. That's why Lilibet's California baptism, surrounded by friends and cameras, carried no weight in royal terms. The Church of England never recognized it. And without that stamp, the palace's silence spoke volumes. In royal language, omission equals rejection. Every other royal baby is recorded and woven into history. Lilibet, meanwhile, floats in limbo, cherished at home, adored in Hollywood, but invisible to the monarchy.
Thanks for taking the time out. I know you guys must be really, really busy, but Meghan, can you tell us what it's like becoming a new mum and tell us a little bit about baby Sussex, as we're calling him?
It's magic. It's pretty amazing, and I mean, I have the two best guys in the world, so I'm really happy.
Reports even claim that Buckingham Palace faced pressure to remove Archie and Lilibet from the line of succession unless Meghan provided undeniable proof that she birthed them herself. Harsh? Absolutely. But in the monarchy's eyes, an incomplete baptism means invalid. Without official recognition, Archie and Lilibet aren't royal heirs. They're privileged American children, but outside the Windsor story. For Meghan, who built her brand on royal heritage, this is devastating. Her carefully crafted image as a modern duchess and global mother figure starts to collapse without her children's place in royal history.
For kids, that's fun, so many good songs, and I've become that mom where I'm like sitting around with friends and I start singing like, Tyrannosaurus, that's the chorus, Tyrannosaurus. I was like, what am I singing? Oh my gosh, I'm singing Storybook. I'm singing Storybooks. I am not singing Beyonce in that. Needed for the kids, these email addresses that sort of like names again that you would never guess, that I will give them at some point in their lives when they're older. But before I go to bed almost every night, I email them.
Wow.
I email because it doesn't have to be a heavy lift, and you email them like, here's your report card from today, or oh my gosh, you said the funniest thing this morning, or here's a picture of you two having breakfast, or here's you playing with the dog. The things that you're not going to frame, the things that you're not going to put pen to paper in a journal. But
Harry, meanwhile, took the rejection like a personal wound. Behind closed doors, he begged for acknowledgement. But the palace gave him nothing but cold rules over warm feelings. Friends say he was torn, watching history's gate slam shut on his children, while the world debated their belonging. For him, this wasn't just about protocol, it felt like betrayal. And the family rift doesn't end there. Reports claim William despises Harry and Meghan now, and when he becomes king, his fury will fall hard. Insiders say he has no intention of letting Archie or Lilibet use HRH titles. And that's the kicker. It's not about being less important, it's about being erased. Their names might still sell headlines, but in the Windsor dynasty, they leave no trace. Cold, ruthless, maybe necessary, but in the palace's eyes, survival always comes before sentiment.
Yes, he has the sweetest temperament. He's really calm and
I don't know where he gets that from.
yeah, and he's just been the dream. So it's been a special couple days.
Who does he take after? Does he look like anyone?
We're still trying to figure that out.
Well, everyone says that babies change so much over 2 weeks. We're basically sort of monitoring how the changing process happens over this next month, really.
It feels cruel, but let's be real. The kids never asked for this. Archie and Lilibet were born into a system of rigid rules and traditions that don't bend, no matter how famous their parents are. Now, the consequences of Harry and Meghan's choices rest on their little shoulders. They'll grow up with love and privilege, sure, but also with the weight of being heirs who never truly were. The palace didn't whisper its stance. It thundered it loud and clear. Heritage is not negotiable. And this impact goes way beyond headlines. No Instagram posts, charity events, or Netflix specials can rewrite the fact that Archie and Lilibet's royal identity has been symbolically cut off. Hollywood glamour doesn't touch centuries-old protocol. For Meghan and Harry, that reality is devastating. It's personal heartbreak and professional loss rolled into one. From Archie's unusual birth certificate to Lilibet's unrecognized baptism, every move from the palace screamed the same truth. Titles, recognition, and succession aren't perks. They're laws carved into tradition. And when the palace enforces them, that's final.
Who's that?
That's your nephew, Archie.
You're pulling my leg.
And what about Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet? Do they have any kind of role going forward? Do they have a job? or are they just there for the titles?
They're going to be basically like Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. You know, they have these grand titles, but at the end of the day, they are just regular people. They're never going to be official representatives of the crown in the way that Prince George is going to be, the way that Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis will probably be. They're never going to be sent off to open a scout hall in Leeds or something. So Archie and Lily have the titles, they can slap them all over their LinkedIn pages, but at the end of the day, they're just going to be normal people.
Living it up in California?
Yeah, really wealthy, normal people.
Californians.
What are you doing here?
Harry's pleas behind closed doors all met with cold silence. Imagine watching the gates of history close on your own children while every appeal bounces off unyielding walls of protocol. For him, this isn't just paperwork, it's permanent, painful rejection. Rules don't bend for emotions, for fame, or even for love. The heartbreak is obvious. You can feel Harry's frustration, Meghan's disbelief, and the world's collective gasp as it all unfolds. The statement from the palace doesn't just echo in California. It reverberates across the world. Archie and Lilibet may grow up with privilege, opportunities, and parents who adore them, but they're missing something the monarchy considers essential: a place in history. The contrast couldn't be sharper. William's children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, are woven tightly into centuries of legacy and ceremony. Meanwhile, Lilibet floats in limbo, and Archie's recognition stays clouded. A Hollywood baptism might look sweet, but to the monarchy, and this is where the Sussex story slams into its hardest emotional wall. Their children aren't just outsiders, they're outsiders to history itself. Meghan's carefully built image as a modern duchess, a global mother figure, a humanitarian icon, that foundation is crumbling. Without her children's recognition, her royal sparkle dims, leaving her brand shaky at best. The fairy tale of liberation, stepping out on their own terms, has twisted into something colder: rejection, and an institution that simply won't bend. Harry's struggle here is heartbreaking. This was never about fame for him, it was about survival, about keeping his children connected to a family he still deep down wants to belong to. Friends say he was torn apart, frustrated, watching centuries of royal law outweigh his most desperate pleas. And the palace? Completely unmoved. For them, it's always law over love, structure over sentiment. This wasn't just business, it was personal. Imagine the agony of watching the gates of history close on your own children. And now, with legal filings confirming what many suspected, the verdict is official. Archie and Lilibet are outside the royal framework. No titles, no succession rights, no privileges. In the world of monarchy, this isn't a demotion, it's erasure. The message is sharp and clear. Tradition is not a game, and celebrity clout means nothing. Outsiders may see it as harsh, even heartless, but for the monarchy, it's survival. The irony cuts deep. Meghan and Harry built empires on public fascination, spinning narratives and challenging traditions. Yet the palace stands firm, untouchable. Their children might be adored in magazines and paparazzi snapshots, but in the official royal history, they don't exist. No titles, no ceremonies, no place in succession. Only silence, signatures, and the final weight of tradition. Heritage in the royal world isn't something you negotiate, it's enforced. So the big question lingers. Did Meghan and Harry truly understand the system they were fighting against? Or did they believe that fame could somehow rewrite centuries of unshakable order? The answer is brutal and final. Still, the world can't look away. Because if there's one thing we've learned, it's that royal drama never dies. Archie and Lilibet may grow up loved and free, but in the monarchy's eyes, their legacy remains a blank page. If you don't want to miss the next chapter of this royal drama, hit that subscribe button and join us, because trust me, the tea is only getting hotter.